Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of And Then the Bell Rang. And joining me every week, not every week, but every episode is my co-host, Lex Lloydy. How's it going, Lloyd?
Feels like every week, doesn't it?
It does. It does. It does. There is a break in between, but it just all molds into one. So,
yeah,
how's
all
it?
good.
Good. Yes.
Okay.
Well, we shall dispense with all the pleasantries and niceties and just delve into the subject of what we're talking about this week, or this episode. I keep talking
You
about
haven't got
this
any
week.
pleasantries or niceties anyway, so let's just.
That's true. Yes,
bring
true.
on.
So true. Yes, this episode we're talking about the 1992 Royal Rumble, which came from Albany, New York, in the Knickerbocker Arena. This was my first pay-per-view that I actually watched. Obviously, it wasn't live at the time. It was just on Sky Sports like a couple of days later. But this was my first proper wrestling event that I watched. So, I mean, I think we did an episode of this on the Insanely Dangerous Retro Pod show years ago. Myself and Gaz talked about the Royal Rumble 92. So, what was your first memory of seeing the Royal Rumble 92?
Well, I've never actually, until now, I've never seen it in its entirety.
Really?
So, yeah,
Wow.
I quite enjoyed actually watching all the matches up to the Rumble because I hadn't seen them all.
Oh, right. Okay.
So that was quite nice to. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. I did appreciate the quality of it. I have
Yeah.
seen the Royal Rumble match before.
Yeah.
Probably on YouTube or wherever it was, but
Yeah.
no, I enjoyed watching the whole thing because I wasn't watching wrestling at all when this
No.
was going.
No. It was. Yeah. I mean, I just remember getting Sky TV. When I say Sky, it was more cable, but I remember seeing like Sergeant Slaughter on TV and being excited I could actually watch wrestling, and hearing that the Royal Rumble was being shown on Sky Sports on a delayed feed, but it was still there. It was edited, but it was still on there, and it was like, yeah, being a kid, I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I was like, what, 9, 10 years old at the time, so I was like, yes. So, but yeah, I mean, 92, I can still remember fondly. I mean, it's not the best year of wrestling, but I still remember the characters and the storylines that were entailed in 92. And 92 Rumble was the first pay-per-view of that year. So, I mean, I don't know what we can just go crack onto the first match. I mean, we've got like I don't know if there's any news or notes you want to talk about in 92.
Maybe just very briefly, just because you mentioned it, I think it was probably the big year in terms of a pivot and change of direction for the company. I think it's a very noticeable one, obviously, with Hulk hanging up his boots come WrestleMania time, which I think we did actually cover. I think we did cover it on another show a long time ago.
Yeah.
But it's definitely the changeover. I think I mentioned it when we did the SummerSlam 91. You could see it was just the very beginning of the end of the big man territory. Even then, there were a few people just leaving. It was just very slowly and gradual. And I think by 92, only by the end of 92, I think that transition's largely complete. I think there's a lot less big guys in the WWF at that time. This is a great Royal Rumble, though, I must admit. I was thinking about it after I watched it. And if I had to pick my favourite Royal Rumble from the 90s in terms of the best Rumble, I think it probably would be this one for me, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people say it is one of their favourite Royal Rumbles ever. The commentary from Bobby Heenan makes it.
Is very good. 91's a very good one. Flip a coin, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I don't know. 91 had probably more of the stars that you remember, whereas 92 still had quite a lot of guys that are in there. You're like, I like this guy. Yeah, I know the 95 Rumble, we had like 3 big superstars in there out, the rest of them were just like, who are these people? They're just like big carders or jobbers. But this one had like the roster was still stacked in '92. But we'll get to who was in the Rumble later on. But yeah, I 90, 91, 92, and 93 is not bad, but it's not the best Rumble ever. Um, and then 94 isn't bad, but it's not great. 95 we covered. 96 wasn't too bad, but again, they had a lot of jobbers and lesser known guys in there. It's like, but yeah, 92 was still a peak era of superstars in the federation at the times. Um, we'll crack on with the first match, which ended up being, well, it was the Orient Express against the New Foundation with Jim Neidhart and Owen Hart, which to me was a surprise when I first watched this because I thought, the Hart Foundation. But they're both still brother-in-laws, and they've got some great neon pajamas, as Bobby Heenan calls them.
Yeah,
And,
I was surprised that watching this. I just thought, what an obvious, glaring mistake.
right,
Not having them in pink and black. I mean, it's just such a no-brainer. It just was ridiculous. Actually, it just killed that tag team before it really got started.
well,
What
I
a
just think
stupid decision.
there would have been more comparisons to Brett and Jim than I think they probably would have wanted to have made them stand out. Well, obviously, if they stood out with what they were wearing. I just thought, yeah,
No, I
I
don't
get what
agree.
you said.
I don't agree at all. I think it was just
Oh, okay,
it just made them look like nobodies.
yeah,
Actually, I think it made Jim Neidhart look like who the hell's that? I don't think it helped them at all. I thought it made it more difficult for them. They should have
yeah,
just kept them in pink and black, and they would have had that clout, and would have almost been like it, not the Horsemen, but just
oh,
a
right,
natural continuance of
the Hart
something that was
Foundation.
already established.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I mean, Owen, I think pretty much wore the same ring gear for over a year because he was like tag partners with Coco Beware. There's high energy, and Coco had to wear the same sort of weird, weird, colourful outfits as Owen did. I don't think it was until Owen didn't start wearing pink and black until after Survivor Series '93 when they had that little bust up at the end of the match that they had.
And it elevates him. It helps elevate him.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it's probably one of Vince's things. Is like we don't want to, we don't want you to be like your brother just yet. Your brother's the champion, or he's going to be a champion one day. We
He's
don't want him
not
to
then.
be like that. No,
He's
no,
not
he's
then.
no. He had lost his Intercontinental title to the Mountie with his 101-degree temperature, which he never really had. Which we later found out was because he was actually planning on negotiating with WCW to go to WCW at the time, but that all fell through. But yeah, this match is a pretty decent match. I remember it. I remember it being really long, and I remember it. I
I
remember
think
like
for
Owen
me that
Hart
it's the
gets
acrobatics that stand out from Owen Hart. And he gets some quite
yes,
good pops.
he
Yeah,
does.
his aerial moves and some of the flips and twists and turns he does using the ropes.
Yeah,
Very good aerial maneuvers in this one. It's a decent,
yes,
solid opener actually for
yeah,
these two, and they didn't
yeah.
really go anywhere,
No,
unfortunately.
no. They pretty much. I think Jim leaves after this. I think pretty much a month or so after this. I think. And that's when Owen's like. That's when I think Owen and Coco Beware start tagging up and onto the. This is before I think I've seen a match where Coco's like wearing his old wrestling garb with Owen, and it's like, oh, so they are high energy, but they haven't got matching outfits yet. So it's just like it was
I've
very
never
weird, but
heard Brett asked this directly, but when you think about it, Jim tagged with Brett for all those years
yeah,
until '91 when they were split up. And it's only at that point when that tag team splits up that Jim's career in WWF, he comes and goes really for years. He
yes,
doesn't have that
yeah,
consistency. And I personally, I would imagine a certain amount of that is down to not having Brett keep him on the straight and narrow on the road, probably to some
yeah,
extent. But I don't know. I can't really say that. I don't really know, but it would seem to make sense if that were the
yeah.
case, because he could be a bit of a sort of a wild card. Jim
He
Neidhart
could
a bit
be,
crazy.
yeah,
So yeah, I think Brett was the glue that probably held that that team together, and he had the sort of cool, level head as well to to maybe step in and just say, "Hey, enough's enough, pack it in."
Yes. Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I think when they split up, I think they put Jim in like the commentary booth for a while, from like March to August of '91, which it seemed a weird move. And then it wasn't until he came back in '91, towards the end of '91, where they formed this new foundation. Again, it didn't last long. I think it was like February 15th was his last match, and he gets fired the next day for refusing to take a drug test and throwing a television monitor backstage. Apparently,
Jesus.
that's when he leaves, and he doesn't come back until '94. Yeah, it's. I can see what you mean. He's obviously kept him in check, and obviously without Brett doing that, he got in a bit of trouble.
Well, I
But I
say
mean,
probably. I don't know that. It's maybe unfair for me to say that because I wasn't there and I don't know. But um, it it would seem like that would make sense anyway. I think. But there you go.
yeah, yeah. I
I mean,
mean,
that why
it's
didn't they get over? I mean, they both had a lot. They had a similar dynamic in the ring. I know Owen was slightly more high flying than Brett was, but yeah, Brett
yeah,
Owen's technical wrestling was superb. So there's no reason why they couldn't have complemented each other in the same way. I just think it was possibly the promos
possibly. I
that
mean,
weren't quite there, and it just I think that honestly the ring gear is a really big deal. When I first saw that, I thought, what the hell are they doing that for? That's ridiculous.
yes,
They
yeah, it
just
was a
look
bit of
like
a
a couple
shock.
of goofy wrestlers. At least
Yeah,
if they'd been wearing the pink and black, it would have been like, hey, yeah, that always stood out. And even Vince said when because they originally were blue and black
yeah,
in the 80s, the Heart Foundation.
yeah, yeah,
And then there's that show where they wore pink and black. And
yeah,
Vince saw them backstage and said, whoa, hang on. That's what you've
yeah,
been missing since you arrived.
yeah.
Wear that every night. And they did. So, yeah. So it was a self inflicted wound that. I think it
Yes,
was
yeah.
doomed, probably. I don't know if it was doomed to failure. It certainly held them back.
It didn't help the
Not a
cause.
good start.
No, no. But I mean, I thought the match was pretty decent. Uh, Beyond Express are good heels.
And good
They,
workers, too. They were very skilled.
yeah, yeah. On the outside as well. He's always up to some shenanigans on the outside. I think
Yeah, he
I
never, he
remember the
never wore
match.
the kimono in them days, did he?
No, no, that didn't come until Yokozuna. Till Yokozuna in the end of '92. Yeah, he was more. He was all like business suit because I remember him. Powers of Pain, Demolition. He was always business suit wearing Mr. Fuji at the time. So, but I just remember the match being like Owen Hart got like beaten up quite a lot in this match for quite some time, and like then they make a tag and they come
Yeah,
back and
hot tags.
yeah, then the Hart Foundation win. They hit the rocket launcher where Jim throws Owen from the top rope onto I want to say Pat Tanaka and pins him 1, 2, 3. The audience pop quite big for them. I mean, to be fair, the audience were pretty into that new foundation. To be fair, fans back then were pretty, hyper and active with
Well, I
it
think
all.
they appreciated the ring work, but it just didn't
Yeah,
give them the chance that they needed to really go for that. I mean, ultimately, they weren't pushed.
no, no. But I don't think
And yeah,
I
Jim
don't.
Jim wasn't going to last, and I think maybe the writing was already on the wall.
I think what I think, as much as Jim was a great character and a great wrestler, he was more of a tag team guy. Jim, he was never going to be a single star. I don't think, in my opinion. And I think they saw more money in Brett. That's why they broke him up. That's why they gave Brett the singles push. And with Jim, they're like, oh, what do we do with Jim? I don't know. Oh, let's make him a commentator. Oh, okay. That's not really worked out. What do we do? Get
I
him
don't
back
know.
in.
I think Brett wanted to be a singles
Yeah,
wrestler
yeah,
himself.
yeah,
He
yeah,
wanted
yeah,
that, but she was lobbying for that.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, Jim. I don't know. I mean, Jim. Oh, yeah. It's just harder. As good as his mic work is or was, it's harder to imagine him getting into a storyline with somebody as a singles over a period of weeks, even months. Yeah, it's tough, that one, because he is
Yeah,
really good and was really good rather.
he was. He
But
was.
yeah, I think that's fair. I think he needed the sort of dynamism and contrast of a yeah partner in there to help balance him and all of his skills and bring the best out of him with someone that would complement him.
Yeah, and I think Owen was slightly more dynamic than Brett, whereas Brett was like a great technician. Yeah, he could do aerial moves, but not it wasn't as high flying as Owen. So the contrast was slightly different to Brett.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
but
I think with Brett, he did a good job when he was in there with Jim Neidhart. I think he used to get beat up most of the time,
yeah,
and I think he was a better partner in the sense that when the hot tag came, Jim would really just you know, catch on fire and
yes,
go
yeah,
go nuts.
yeah,
With Owen, I think Owen used to probably offer a bit more. It was a different psychology, I think, the pairing that they had.
yeah, yeah. No, um, yeah. I mean, again, had Jim been able to, control his temper by the looks of it and stay around, would the new foundation have taken off really? Because I mean, like you say, in '92, the tag team division wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. I mean, you had like Money Inc. and the Beverly Brothers and the Natural Disasters, the Nasty Boys were
Steiners,
still around. If Steiner's come in, yeah, towards the end of '92, '93. Um, Trying to think of who else.
could have
The
done, but I
Beverly
just think I don't know. I think that whole
Bushwhackers,
division went down the toilet for years.
Legion of Doom.
Actually,
Yeah,
it was terrible.
it got worse in '93, in my opinion. But yeah, there were some lean years of tag teams because what they had in the '80s was great tag teams. Then they all sort of left or split them up or whatever they did with the tag teams at the time. And then the '90s were just kind of you know they weren't forgotten about, but they just didn't have as many good teams as they used to have.
Or you just had
So
teams that lacked stature, clout,
yeah,
credibility. They just did not have that pizzazz.
no,
Um, for me, anyway. I mean, I think for me the um, the epitome of just how dull WWF was mid 90s is for me Smoking Guns. I just think they were the most boring tag team and generic and just like give them the tag titles just because they're cowboys and they probably have American flags on their pickups and just do that because it's safe and no one will really think about it too much.
uh, I
They were
quite
dull
like
as
the smoking
dishwater.
gun.
They were really
They,
boring.
you have a heart. You really don't like the smoking guns, do you? You hate
No,
them.
actually, I did. I didn't mind them at all. I just think
Looking at them now, you're
I
like,
look
oh,
at the big picture in terms of the big picture. At the time, I did like them, and I
yeah,
don't look back on them and say they were god awful. I just thought they were really boring, and
yeah,
they didn't have great mic skills, either of them.
no, no.
Um,
Although Billy Gunn
yeah,
got
just
better.
safe, just very safe and bland, and not particularly special in that sense. They were actually hell of a team in terms of they could work, and they were very good.
Yeah,
Um, they just didn't quite have the stature that a lot of teams had before them. I think they're not really. You think about all-time great tag teams, most people probably wouldn't talk about the Smoking Guns in their top five or possibly even top 10. I don't know.
yeah. No, I get that. I understand what you're saying on that. Yeah.
But they were
So,
solid. They were good at the time. I thought they were right. I didn't mind them being champions. Never
no.
hated them at all.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, they were a product of their time, and that time was
Bland and
pretty
boring.
damn underwhelming at
Yes,
times.
yes, yeah. No, I get that completely. Um,
And of course, it's a
so
gimmick too.
it is a
It, you know,
gimmick. Yeah,
when Billy turned heel and he became Rockabilly, and then he eventually joined DX. I mean, I wasn't any great fan, but I'd be the first to say, they let him be probably more of himself, and that
yes,
helped him.
yeah.
Getting away from the cowboy gimmick. And I think with Bart, he just didn't
They did
he
nothing
just
with him.
didn't survive.
They
after that.
wanted he won a tough enough competition and then got beaten by Butterbean at WrestleMania 14, I think. So other than that, that was all he did. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I just think he didn't have he didn't really have the character or sort of mic skills.
no,
That he didn't have that presence as a single,
didn't have
maybe
enough
to
charisma.
survive.
So yeah, no, I get that. So we'll move on to the next match, which was the Intercontinental title match. The
This one
Bounty,
I really enjoyed this because I've never
yes,
seen it. I've always known
yeah,
about it, but I've never seen it, and it was a real treat actually. I really enjoyed this. It was
yes,
great.
yeah. The Mountie had become champion a few days later, a few days earlier, by beating
Yeah,
Brett, and Roddy Piper was getting his shot for his first ever title. This was his not his first ever title match, but this was the first time he won a title in the WWF. But yeah, this was it was a short match, but it was a great match. It was Roddy
yeah,
Piper
it
coming
was
in.
really strange. It was really strange because it did end really quickly. I was almost like,
It did,
really?
it did.
When I was
Yes,
watching it.
yeah,
The thing I liked about it the most was actually Piper's working as a heel
yes,
in the ring. I mean, he's doing loads of cheap shots, raking the face.
yes,
Um, and he's classic Piper. He's a ferocious temper all
yeah,
through the match. Jimmy Hart's getting in the way and he's getting bumped and um, oh, just brilliant. The finish was a real surprise. He jumps to a sleeper hold and he puts him out. And he beats him pretty damn quickly
yeah,
in a sleeper hold, and it's almost like shit. Really, he's won it, and he has. And
yes,
Piper loves it. I mean, you can just see how happy Roddy Piper was when he won it. He was so thrilled to be holding that belt and win
yeah.
it like that. And then he stings the Mountie with
The
the
shock stick.
stick. Yeah,
Yes,
and the whole crowd are just loving it because he's just standing over him, thumbs up, thumbs down. It's thumbs down. He sticks him, and
yeah,
yeah, I mean the Mountie is destroyed in this match,
yes.
which is great. And I like the Mountie as well. I think
It was a
he's a
great
classic
heel. Yeah,
classic shit heel. He's a
yes,
shitty heel, and he's
yes,
classic, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. The Mountie.
yeah. Jacques Rougeau doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion, for the work he did through the 80s and 90s and for
Yeah,
what
I've
he.
seen a little bit of him talk in recent
Yes,
years, and I've always really enjoyed what he had to say. I thought he had a lot to offer and good
yeah,
insight and some really nice memories and some funny stories actually. So yeah, I've got nothing but good things to say about him. I think he was missed actually when he
yeah.
left. It was a shame for all of us because yeah, he never really came back.
Well, he came back.
Um,
He came back with the Quebecers. He
no, I
came
mean
back as.
after
Oh
'94,
right. Oh right. Okay. Yeah.
when I remember him from his tag times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't really see him back. I know I know his partner, Jean Pierre Lafitte, um,
They went to
but
WCW for a bit.
yeah, but his best days were behind him. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
that character was great, and yeah, I
Yeah.
missed it. I think he was looking whenever I look back on any of his matches, yeah, he's so funny. I watched some recently. I watched some WWF Superstars on
Yeah.
YouTube from about September and October of '92.
Right.
No particular reason. They were just there, and I watched one. I got quite into it, and I wanted to see the next week, and I watched three of them.
Right.
And there was a couple of jobber matches with the Mountie, and I just loved just how he used to talk trash.
Yeah.
Absolutely hilarious.
Oh yeah. It was. He
He
was
had
a
a
great
big
talker.
mouth. He
He
had a
did.
big mouth, and
He
he liked
did.
to get the mic and sing his own song and get
Yes.
everyone to boo him. He was so good. He was
Yes.
just so
Yeah.
good,
My
and it was
favorite is still
brilliant
the
to see Roddy
SummerSlam night.
Piper. Really loved
Yes.
to see him win it.
Yeah.
Because he looked the part and he deserved it, and he really kicked some ass in this match. It was almost a squash match. He didn't have it all the same way. Piper misses a few um, high risk moves
Yeah.
and falls flat on his ass a couple of times,
Yes.
but yeah, he always gets back up. It's probably 70-80% all Piper's match. Actually, he does really well. He dominates most of it.
Yeah. Yeah. He does.
It was all
Yeah,
over
the
really
crap.
quickly. Yeah, Brett's not on the pay-per-view,
No,
which, as you say, is it's interesting that they did that, and it was we now know there was a possibility, no more than that, I suppose, that he might have gone to WCW
yeah,
then. I think if he had done that, that would have been a pretty big turning point for him. I don't because I actually think he would have become Bobby Eaton at that time.
really. Wow.
Yeah, I do,
WCW
because I just think as good as he was, I don't think he would have been put
used
in that
properly.
position where he would have won major
Yeah,
honours. I don't think WCW would have known what to do with him.
that's
Um,
true.
that's just my opinion. I don't think he would have done
Reached
much.
that. No,
I mean, I think he'd be oh, not a forgotten name in wrestling, but I think he'd be just one of the guys.
yeah.
I'm just not sure. I mean, you can say, well, he had that much talent, he would have forced his way through anyway. But you have to say, not in that environment, not in WCW. I just don't think they would have. I don't think they would have done much.
You wouldn't know what to do with him, like you say. Yeah. No, I can see that. I can see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably good that he stayed away. The
I mean,
negotiations broke
he
down.
has possibly the second best year of his career, arguably,
Yeah,
if not the best. 92. He's just
yeah,
sensational.
yes. 93 wasn't too bad. I mean, I remember seeing I remember his VHS greatest hits match where he was defending
Yeah,
the
but
title.
he's given the chances to go over and respected, and he's
Yeah,
not in '93, not really. This is the year that made him '92, and then
yeah.
'97 is
Was his,
probably as good. I would say he's maybe the best year he ever had in terms of his in ring and his
yeah,
promos and his all round ability. I think it was probably '97.
yeah, 92 a close second on that one. Yeah, Piper wins his very first Intercontinental title, or his very first singles championship in the WWF, which leads to the WrestleMania 8 matchup with the Hitman and all that sort of great shenanigans.
It's worth just pointing out just how good Roddy Piper is,
Yeah, yeah,
especially around this time. I mean, it's so obvious. It's almost unspoken, really.
yeah,
In the ring, he's really, really good
he is.
at this
Yeah,
time. He's very good. I mean, the match is he has a great match, even though it's short. I'm not sure why it was so short, but um, it's a really great match, and he looks great. Gets all his stuff in, looks real good.
yeah.
WrestleMania 8, absolute classic. Maybe the one of the best matches Piper ever had. I don't know.
Ooh,
Probably
yeah, yeah.
WrestleMania 8. And we don't really see him much after that. He's more on
No, he
commentary
plays the
after this.
bagpipes at SummerSlam 92, but other than that, yeah, he disappears quite
Yeah, by and
symbolically.
large, for a couple of years, and he has that comeback at King of the
Oh,
Ring in '94 with Jerry Lawler, which bombed.
God. Yeah, but it's terrible. One of the worst matches I've seen.
It was like it reminded me of years ago. I went to see Blair Witch 2 in the cinema, and the
Yeah,
quality was so bad. And it was the one and only time I actually left the cinema, and I actually thought to myself, should I go and ask for my money back? I was that
yes,
pissed. I was like, they were so bad. It was a bit like that Roddy Piper
yeah,
match in '94.
yes.
I
It
think he
was
does have to
terrible.
take some of the blame for that. I know he
He
blamed
does.
Jerry
Yeah,
Lawler. He said, "Oh, he
both
wanted
of
someone
them.
that would dig a bit deeper," but he's not great in it either.
No, neither of them were great on that match. This match, he was great, and he wins
Yeah,
it.
he
And
was.
Bobby Heenan says, "Oh, he can like win the second title tonight by winning the Rumble as well." They point that out because the Rumble's for the vacant title, so Roddy Piper has a chance to become a two-time champion in one night.
Yeah, I love his
Um,
promo as well. He's like, only in America.
yeah, great stuff. So we'll move on to the next match, which even as a kid I didn't really like, but anyway, it was the Beverly Brothers, who was with the Genius. They took on the Bushwhackers, who was with Jameson. I don't know what you
Yeah,
thought of this
I
match.
must admit, I didn't really get this one. I thought, why is this on a pay per view? I don't understand.
It
it
was weird.
wasn't worthy of a pay-per-view match for
No,
me. I almost fell asleep. Actually, it wasn't a great
no.
spectacle.
I think they were trying to do something with the Genius and Jameson, who we didn't really see much of on UK TV because it was like primetime wrestling. The character I think that Bobby Heenan knew. Yeah, other than that, I mean, the Beverly Brothers heels, solid workers, but the Bushwhackers were a bit of fun, a bit of comedy in that. But yeah, it was just the
I wouldn't
Bushwhackers.
expect to see them on most pay-per-views, the Bushwhackers, to be honest. And that's I'm not
No,
being mean because
no,
like you, I think they were a big part of that cartoon world of wrestling when it was the big man territory and in its
yeah,
heyday. I think they were a part of that, and they were definitely fan favorites, and they were household names. I don't think anyone expected them to be that good.
no,
That's the thing about them. They weren't. It was almost not part of their character that they were supposed to be particularly good, or they'd go after winning tag titles and this and that. They they just had their little gimmick, and they were fun.
yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, I don't know, Royal Rumble, you want the stakes to be really high on a show, any pay per view,
yes,
especially then when there were only four.
yes,
So
yeah,
yeah, I don't think it really belonged on the event myself. You get what you get with the Bushwhackers. Yeah, Beverly Brothers were. I suppose maybe they were trying to push them, but yeah, it wasn't
yeah.
for me this one.
No, no, I'm glad I wasn't the only one who thought about that. I was just like, I didn't care about the match at all. When Blake beat the Bushwhackers, but then like at the end of it, there's some silliness with the Genius and Jameson, and Genius gets like kicked out of the ring or something stupid like that. It's just really weird. Yeah, it was an almost 15-minute match. It's like, what are you wasting our
We
time
were
with
read a
this for?
poem.
We by Lanny. Yeah, the Genius was a
We
good
were read a
character.
poem, and
Yes,
that was worth something. That's probably the main takeaway from me in this match.
yes, yeah, yeah. The Genius did love his poems. Okay, so we'll move on to the last match before the Rumble, which was for the tag team titles, which was the Legion of Doom, who were the champions, taking on the Natural Disasters with Jimmy Hart. Um, again, it's a big bruising match. These guys, don't give an inch, they don't take an inch, and the Natural Disasters come at you. The Legion of Doom hit hard, but it was a weird finish. Yeah, again, it's like, what was the point of the? I even as a kid, I was like, what's happening? Because I mean, at the time, they're like, because they win by count out the natural disasters, and like they're holding the title belts up at the end, and you're like, have they won the titles? It's like, and then Gorilla Monsoon's always like, you can't win a championship on a count out, and you're like, oh, okay, well, that's random then. But I don't know what you
Yeah,
thought of this match.
felt like it didn't really pay off for me this match. It just didn't.
No,
Yeah, bit of a not damp squib, but just underwhelming, I suppose.
yeah, yeah. I mean, again, it's a good little payoff for them to get them on the pay per view, but again, because I know, trying to think who beats the Legion of Doom for the tag titles in '92. Is it the Natural Disasters or is it Money
Money Inc., isn't it?
Inc? I think so. Just trying to remember because yeah, but I mean, again, it's just because there was an interesting thing between the Nasty Boys, not Nasty Boys, Natural Disasters, and Money Inc. and Legion of Doom, and trying to win the tag titles. But yeah, this match was just it wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. But it was just a weird count out victory for the Natural Disasters, which didn't really do anything for them. Didn't really get them over or get them a title shot. I don't think so. But yeah, well, we can just move on to the Rumble, the start of the Raw Rumble 1992. First entrant that comes out is the British Bulldog. Second entrant that comes out is Ted DiBiase.
Actually, before you do go too far, it's
No.
worth mentioning there's a couple of interviews backstage with Lord Alfred Hayes, the
Oh
Coliseum
yes.
video exclusives. I think most of them, if not all of them. He
Yeah.
talks to Ric Flair,
Yeah.
and Ric Flair does tell him that he's drawn number three. And I'm thinking, I don't know, but if it was Coliseum video, so on the original pay-per-view, that wouldn't have been known because,
No.
generally speaking, the way I remember it, who drew what was left to, you know,
Chance. Yeah.
left to chance, but it was just left to um, find out,
Yeah.
as it unfolded. It's not something that was disclosed before
Yeah.
the actual Rumble itself. So it was interesting seeing that interview. It was for Coliseum video. There's an
Video
interview with
exclusive.
Hulk Hogan backstage as well in his dressing room, which is kind of goofy. And he comes
Yeah.
across, I have to say, Hogan, Holster. Actually, I have to be careful when I call him Hogan like that because I would have been a Hulkamaniac, and I miss
Yeah.
him because I'm still upset that he's gone. I really am. I
Yeah.
hate him.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But it does make me so. If I'm not bashing him if I just say Hogan like that. Like,
No. No.
I don't know, I'm chastising myself here, but um, he just came across really goofy in his interview, and it was just a little cringy almost. It just didn't fire. So he's come into this event having been stripped of his title that he stole back. So he had it
Yeah.
stolen off of him from the Undertaker, and then he stole it back a few days later in Texas.
Yeah.
And he finds himself in this position. His only recourse is to win this Rumble, so
Yeah.
they can just award the title to the winner, which is
Yeah.
unprecedented probably at this time.
Yeah.
Um, it has happened since. I think that happened at the Final Four, didn't it, in '97? And
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels lost a smile, threw the belt up
Yes.
in the air, and then
Yes.
the Final Four match would decide
Yeah.
who the new champion was. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just thought Hogan. This is a really important time for Hulk Hogan because I was saying it at the Survivor Series of '91. I think he was just starting to. I think Vince was starting not to back him anymore,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
and he's clearly not quite the golden goose that he
No.
was because he's just not being treated with the same. I'll say respect for want of a better term, but he's not got quite the same regard. He's sort of being pushed in the same way.
Yeah.
But equally, Vince, I don't think Vince knows what the hell he's going to do.
No.
And that's a problem that continues for several years, actually,
Yes.
probably until Austin at WrestleMania 14, I suppose it would be.
Yeah.
I honestly think that was what was going on at this time. I think Hogan was getting a bit older, Hulkster, and yeah, he was just he wasn't as good. I honestly thought in '91, like his in-ring work wasn't quite as good. I just felt like he wasn't quite as quick as he was. It's just my opinion. It's nothing more than that. But
No. No. I
in
get
ring,
that.
I don't think he was having quite the caliber of matches that he used to. But they weren't bad. It just dropped just
He'd
2 or
trimmed down a lot.
3%. Yeah, he just dropped a little bit in
Yeah.
his output and his quality. Only marginally at this point, but you could see him. You could just see like there are fewer good days ahead than there are behind him at this point.
Yeah.
And yeah, Sid, for example, is an absolute monster.
Yeah.
Sid Justice, and he's being mildly pushed.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll say Davy Boy's being pushed as well.
Yeah.
And it's actually slightly understated, but he wins a battle royal in late '91 in Royal
Yeah.
Albert Hall,
Yeah.
and I think Vince, because I think Davy at that time, his in-ring work was absolutely phenomenal. He'd hold people up for the standing suplex for
Yes.
10, 15 seconds, and the crowd would just go nuts. All of his power moves just look magnificent. I can't remember if there's a fireman spin at one point in the ring. It might have been Davey that did it on Ric
Yeah.
Flair. I can't remember now. I must admit, I thought to myself, when was the last time I saw a fireman spin in the ring? Do
Yeah.
they do it anymore in WWE? I can't imagine anybody does.
Sometimes. some
Do they?
certain wrestlers do, but not everyone.
Hmm.
So yeah, some like technical wrestlers do that. Old throwback wrestlers, but yeah, it's not as used as it used to be. But yeah,
I don't
no,
want to
it's
see it every week, but it is a
no,
good move. It's a good fun move. It's good pop, and
yeah,
done at the right time. I think it adds something to the show.
yeah, yeah. It's very true. But yeah, I'd forgotten about the interviews. To be fair, so,
Yeah,
so
just
I
listening
mean,
to Hulk talk, I don't know, it just felt like it just wasn't the same anymore. And he calls
uh,
Jack Tunney no good Jack Tunney as well.
yeah, yeah,
Jack
he's not
Tunney
happy
comes
at
out
all.
to the ringside and he gives like a really, I mean, if you'd had rotten tomatoes and um, you know, drink, you'd be throwing it
Yeah,
at him, wouldn't you? Because he's up there, he's
yeah,
talking about may the best man win, and yeah, it's like watching Sepp Blatter and like in FIFA and just listening to him banging on about fair play, and you just think, oh god,
it's like them awarding
just
Donald
blow the
Trump the
bloody
Peace
whistle.
Prize. It's like them awarding Donald Trump the Peace Prize for whatever crap he thinks he's done today.
Yeah,
But yeah,
but I really enjoyed that Hulk Hogan called him that no good Jack Tunney.
yes, yeah, yes.
I don't think
Uh,
anyone particularly liked him, did they?
who checked Honey? No, no, I don't think so.
Character
Um,
Jack Tunney. I mean, God knows what he was really like, but um,
yeah,
he was
but
Canadian, wasn't he?
he was, he
He
was.
had a lot of clout in Canada
Yes,
for the
yeah,
WWF.
yeah. I'm trying to think. I know Bruce has spoken about him on his podcast. Um, but I mean, yeah, he played the president of the WWF for quite some time. I think he was from like
Mm-hmm.
'86 all the way to '94. I
Five,
want to say '95.
five.
Oh yeah, he was in your house, wasn't he?
The
Jesus
gorilla takes
Christ,
over.
that's right. Yes. Oh dear. Yeah, Jack Tunney. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't think anyone really the way that you look at it now, you're like, oh, is he the owner of the WWF? You don't know because like Vince,
Yeah,
like
that's important actually because it wasn't generally as known that Vince McMahon was the owner. I think it
no,
kind of was out there, but it generally speaking was never pushed that much or talked about
no,
that much. And Vince never came across in any way presidential or
no,
like he was a
no,
CEO or anything.
no.
I think Vince used to big up Jack Tunney. I always
Yes,
remember, I think it was SummerSlam '93 when Jerry Lawler's just done his hit job and
yeah,
he's limping out of the ring and he's walking down the aisle with
yeah,
Doink after he's
yeah,
done a number on the Hitman, and Jack Tunney comes out, and I just always remember thinking how well Vince sold that. Jack Tunney walks
yeah,
through the curtain, and there's just the way he's like shocked, and he's like, "Oh my god, that's Jack Tunney, president of the WWF."
yeah, yes, yeah. He
And
sold it.
he
He
really
sold
bigs
it
up the
really did.
character, and that's the president. Like, oh my god, we should all
Yes,
bow or something. You know,
yes. Oh dear. But yeah, no. Yeah, so the entrance is done. The Bulldog's the first entrant out, and then Ted DiBiase comes out. And then Ric Flair, as you told us and spoiled it for everyone who's never seen the Rumble night, Ric Flair comes out on the three. And the Bulldog is, he's in there for a good 20 odd minutes in the match. And like the first elimination is he eliminates Ted DiBiase. Um, Jerry Sags comes out and Haku come out. Shawn Michaels stays in for a bit longer because I remember the periods of like the early Rumbles where like you get a few quick eliminations, but then like guys come in and they stay in there for quite some time.
Bulldog
Um,
actually throws several people out and actually
he
he gets
does,
big pops, and
yeah,
he's got Ric Flair up
yes,
over his head, both hands, and he's like doing almost like he's using him to do like a
press
in
slam,
midair, well, like midair push-ups before he does the press slam, and it is really really impressive when you see that.
yes, yeah. He
I mean,
he
I
eliminates.
thought he was getting a minor push here, actually, Bulldog,
I
because the
thought so. Yeah,
crowd. You could imagine Vince actually
he was over in
if
the
if
states.
Bulldog had just a little bit more pop
Yeah,
or a push. I mean, I think he was right on the lip of getting a run actually
yeah,
at this time. I think it
yeah.
was when it went down
91,
the
92.
Intercontinental route,
Yes,
but
yeah,
he was clearly getting big reactions, and I
yeah,
could well see Vince. I mean, I think if that had happened maybe a couple of years later, I could definitely imagine it at different times. Vince might have pulled the trigger on that and fired it into sort of outer space.
yeah.
Launch him.
Sags and Haku get eliminated by the Bulldog as well. They're only in there for a couple of minutes themselves. And that's because Bulldog's already eliminated Ted DiBiase, who doesn't last long at all in the Rumble. And then it's back to him and Flair for a while. And then I think like Shawn Michaels, Tito Santana, the Barbarian, Texas Tornado, they all come in and they last, 10, 15 minutes each themselves. Because I think there's a minute as well. There's a point in the Rumble where like Flair's in there and Piper comes out to meet him when Flair's in there on his own. So I mean, if you think about
Yeah,
it as well,
there's a great line from Bobby Heenan when Tito Santana's in there about somebody's doing
yeah,
a guacamole job on him or something.
yes,
And you just
yeah,
think, Christ, he wouldn't get away with it now.
no, no. Bobby Heenan has some great commentary and some great lines in this Rumble. I mean,
Gorilla's
he
teasing
made
him for the whole time, and he's very
yes,
emotional, and it's just hilarious.
yes, yes, yeah. Um, I think the Repo Man comes out, Greg the Hammer Valentine comes out, Nikolai Volkov, and this Big Boss Man, Hercules. These guys were all in there before Roddy Piper comes in, and they're all in there until they all get eliminated.
Piper
And
does a
that's
real number on Flair, and Flair's the look on his face.
yes,
He's on his knees, and he's just been pummeled for about 20 odd minutes. He's got
yeah,
nothing left, and you can
yeah,
just see like the look of like, oh no.
yes.
Um, yeah, and Piper just goes in there, and he's just
It's going
firing
nuts.
and oh, you know, fiery temper, and it's great. They were really good. Yeah,
Yeah,
actually, if those two had had a match on pay per view, I think it would have been brilliant. I think they
yeah.
could have done really well at this time.
Yeah, I think they used to have like tag matches on Coliseum Home Video back in 91, 92. Because obviously, I think they tried, because obviously they had like a rivalry in the NWA back in the 80s, I think, before Piper went to the WWF. So
Was it Starcade '83? I think they had quite
I
a
think
famous
so.
match.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, so they were well known to each other. So they were kind of like they never. I don't think the WWF actually said it, but I think they were trying to tease it that they knew each other and they'd had a feud together. So, but yeah, Piper and Flair would have been Big Bunny even in '92, I think. So,
Yeah, agree.
so it's Jake Roberts, Jim Duggan, IRS, Jimmy Snooker, and the
Boss Man
Undertaker
looks
of the
great in there, by the way.
sorry,
Boss Man looks great in there.
Boss Man did. Yeah, yeah, Boss Man looked good. But I think he gets eliminated by Ric Flair. So, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah, very
um,
awkwardly. He stumbles him out,
yes,
really. It was
yes,
almost botched, actually, how it's done.
yes, yeah. It looked quite painful to the boss man. I know there's like Jake Roberts is coming out, and everyone's talking about the whole Randy Savage situation. And I think when the Undertaker comes out, the next entrant after that is Randy Savage. It is Randy Savage who is going nuts for Jake, and Jake like slithers out of the ring and hides from Randy, who gets, I think the Undertaker like intercepts him and starts beating him up, and then Jake comes in once he knows Savage is being beaten up, and I think at some stage Savage turns the table on Jake and eliminates Jake, and then he jumps over the ring. But at this stage, that doesn't eliminate yourself. You have to be thrown over the top rope by by another
Yeah, there's
opponent.
a little bit of confusion about the rules, and I think Gorilla
Yes.
and Bobby try and explain it. I think Bobby's trying to just be adamant to
Yeah.
save confusion and embarrassment. He's like, no, see, the referee's waving him back in. See, that's how it is. And I think
Yes.
Gorilla's like, well, I'll take your word for it. But it's a good point. They didn't quite make it clear enough. I mean, even Gorilla said, oh, well, no, you have to be propelled out.
Yeah, you have to be thrown out by someone else. I mean,
We
years.
want the lawyers to look at the rules. What
Yeah,
is the rule book?
exactly. In later years, if you jump over the top rope, you eliminate yourself, and that's an elimination from the rumble. But back then, they were like, "Oh, this never happens."
Yeah,
They
they made
weren't
out
sure
like
how to
I think
play
it
it.
was Mil Mascaras that
Yes,
did that, and
he jumped out of the
and they're
ring.
like, "Oh,
He just eliminated himself.
Jerry
And
Lawler's like,
Bruce
what
has,
an idiot."
yeah, Bruce has spoken that on the pod, and it's like Mil Mascaras is like, "No yob, amigo, no yob." So he just like threw himself over the top because he didn't want anyone throwing him out. So it's like, okay, fair enough, whatever. The Undertaker looked quite impressive in this Royal Rumble as
Yeah, he
well. To
gets
be
that
fair,
that big choke. He doesn't actually give Flair the choke slam. He just chokes him out in the
yes, yeah, yeah,
and drives him back into the corner.
yeah. I love Bobby Heenan always like take a rest, Rick. Take a rest. You know, don't do that, Rick. Don't do that. No, take a rest. He's always like trying to give him advice as to what how to like navigate the match. It was classic Bobby. I loved Heenan's commentary on this, and like you say, Gorilla's teasing him throughout the whole show as well, the whole Rumble.
So there's a really nice spot. It doesn't last long, but I think Roddy Piper puts Ric Flair in his figure four.
All
Not for
right,
very long,
yeah,
but it looks really good because he's
yeah.
beside himself.
And Heenan's probably there. That's not fair to Flair. It's not fair to Flair. It's just like pretty much the whole hour that he's
I
in it.
think Davey actually breaks it up, and
All
Bobby
right,
Heenan's like, I never thought I'd say thank you, but thank you.
yes, yes. Oh God, yeah. So after the Savage comes in, we've got the Berserker coming in. We've got Virgil, Colonel Mustafa, who doesn't last very long. You've got Rick Martel's in here. Then the Hulkster comes out for a big pop. Skinner, Sergeant Slaughter, Sid Justice comes out to a big pop. And then, of course, Gorilla says the final entrant is the Warlord, which it was. He lasted less than 2 minutes. But I mean, again, these are all interesting characters. I mean, other than like the Iron Sheik, who's Colonel Mustafa now, these guys last fairly. They all have like blocks of 20 to 15 minutes in the ring before getting eliminated. I mean, that they were teasing that Sid and Hulk work together for a bit when they're both in the ring, and but then obviously it all goes pear shaped towards the end. But yeah, I mean, again,
There's things about all that don't add up as well.
yeah. What in what way?
Well, just the commentary and the narrative, I suppose.
Yeah, okay.
Because literally Howard Finkel at the start of the match
Yeah,
reminds everybody it's every man for himself.
yeah. Of course. Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
very clear.
Yes,
Everybody
yes,
knew that.
yes.
We've all seen the Royal Rumble. We know how it goes.
Yeah.
But the instant that, because we'll just get into it, because Hulk, actually, one thing that they do give Hulk, and I'm glad that they did, they let Hulk eliminate Undertaker, which I thought was
Yes.
right. I think, yeah, for all the stuff
Yeah.
he'd had to go through with his championship and all that fiasco, I think that was good to give Hulk that
Yeah.
moment actually to throw out the Undertaker because he does get a big cheer for that.
Oh,
So he's working on. I'm trying to remember who he's working on. It might have been right after he eliminated the Undertaker. So Sid comes up sneakily from behind and just dumps Hogan over and out and eliminates him.
so I think he was
And
work. I think he was work.
this is where I struggle because I don't know what to believe anymore because then the crowd start chanting Hogan, which I don't believe actually happened.
No, so I think what happened was, if you look at it, I think Sid chucks Hogan out, and you see the reaction in the background of the crowd cheering Sid for eliminating
Exactly.
Hogan.
That's right.
And I think what happened is like in an ed later on, they edited people chanting Hogan in the background because they were shocked that people were actually happy that Sid chucked him out, and more Because if you look at the aftermath of the fight, well, not the fight, but the big pull apart at the end, a lot of people are chanting Sid, and Sid's actually pointing that out to Hogan in the thing, and you're like, and
Mm.
Hogan looks quite bemused by it. He's like, "What's going on?" But it's like, and the WWF are like, "Well, we can't have this happening." And
It's the way it was
Hogan's our
booked.
guy. Yeah,
It's simply the
yeah,
way it was booked because there's no argument
no.
about what happened. It's fair and square,
And
and we've seen
Hogan's
it so many
moaning
times.
like, "What are you doing?" And Sid's saying to him, "Every
But
man for
Gorilla's going
himself."
along with that narrative as well. He's
Yes,
like, "Oh, he didn't have the decency to face it. He just did
yeah,
it from behind." And
yeah,
he said like, "Oh, you've stole my title." That's what the Hulkster's saying. You've stole my
yeah,
title. That's
yeah,
And I thought, well, it's the wrong line for Gorilla to be using. It's
yes,
dumb booking, actually, because it just makes Hulk look like a bad loser.
yeah, yeah. That's true. But
Ultimately, whatever happens, if Hulk's not going to be booked to win it, then however it happens, he's just going to get eliminated one way or another. Now,
yeah,
what should have happened if they wanted to really go on to WrestleMania and have the two of them face each other? It should have been that. It should have been that Hulk was. It should have been the other way around. Basically,
right,
I think Sid should have. I think Sid should have gone out and done the
yeah,
dirty on Hogan. I think
right.
that would have. I think that would have worked. It certainly would have made more sense. It just looked
Sid should have pulled
embarrassing.
Hogan out of the ring. You need
Yeah,
not have Hogan pull Sid out of the ring, but Sid
yeah. I
should have
think if
pulled
you'd
Hogan.
flipped that,
Yeah,
it would have been a lot more understandable. Because actually, what Hulk did was heelish. He actually legitimately robbed Sid, and that's the
yes,
thing. He's behaving like a heel. He's
yes,
got no business. I mean, how many times would you hear Gorilla say he's got no business at ringside? Because at
yeah,
that point, Hogan
yeah,
had no business at ringside. He'd been eliminated. Go home.
yes, yeah. Very true. Very true. I know. I listened to a recent podcast with Bruce talking about Raw and Marty too, and he's like he didn't like the way it ended with Hogan and Sid because it took away from Flair winning the title. Because like Flair wins the title and he has
We'll
to get
get
out
to
of the
that.
ring.
We'll get to that. But
Uh,
yeah, that's true. Because Ric Flair leaves, doesn't he?
he does. But although the interview they do at the end more than makes up for it because Mean Gene's great in it. Put that cigarette out. It's just like what? But yeah, no. So Sid's eliminated Hulk. Hulk's having a hissy fit. Hulk then starts pulling Sid's arm to try and get him out of the rope, and Flair
Yeah, he
comes
won't
from
let go.
behind Sid,
Yeah,
and Flair
Flair
comes from behind,
bumps him
throws
over.
Sid out. Yeah, wins the match.
And
Heenan's
Bobby
losing his
Heenan's
mind.
beside himself. Yeah, he absolutely.
Yes, yes.
The
Um,
thing about Flair winning it, on paper, that means you're ending the pay per view on quite a downer.
right. Yeah,
In terms of he's a heel. No one wants heels to win. He's
yeah,
not a fan favorite because that's how it's supposed to be.
yeah,
So from that point of view, it's not a great way to end the show. So on the flip side, you could have Ric Flair in the ring, climbing all the turnbuckles and showing the belt and gloating. There's
yeah,
that. Um,
yeah,
but it's probably just as well that they take him backstage and he has this long interview. And I actually think watching that interview, um, I think for Ric Flair at that time to win the title in WWF, I think that was the biggest moment of his whole career. I think it surpassed anything that he'd done previously at this point, because I think to have done it on that stage
yeah,
meant that he really was everything he said he was.
yeah,
And the way he actually speaks, Ric Flair, it's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like a babyface interview, because there's a
yeah,
certain amount of, you know, reflection and hard work and
yeah,
appreciation for how hard he's had to work to fight to get there, and it's actually it's quasi personal actually and real, the way
yeah.
that comes across that interview for me. And obviously there's this famous put that cigarette out from
Yes.
Gene
Yes.
Okerlund. I don't know who that was, but it was quite funny.
someone had lit a cigarette. I think someone talked about it years later, and it was just me. It was like someone had lit a cigarette at the time, and I don't know if it was Pat Patterson. I don't think it was Pat Patterson because he was in the ring. I think trying to pull apart Hogan and Sid, but
I don't
somebody
know.
lit a cigarette.
I tried to look it up, and I couldn't actually
Kerwin
find
Silphy.
anything definitive about who it was. But it doesn't really matter. But it
Ah,
was just quite
yeah,
funny.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it was a good interview. You got Mr. Perfect there as well, with Bobby Heenan in the background there, lapping it up as well. Uh,
You see where you leave the show with Hulk Hogan. I mean, to me, I'd said he was diminishing at Survivor Series when he lost the title. Roll
yeah,
on 2 more months. Here we are at Royal Rumble.
yeah,
Arguably, his career's in tatters.
yeah, yes. Well, his
In a
next,
way, I mean, it's not really, but you know what I mean. Wow, it's probably like the most uncertain time, and he's just not. He's just not the main force that he was.
I mean, the next thing they do is, I think they hold the press conference, don't they, for who's going to be the champion, going to get the title match, and they announce Hogan is going to get the title match, but then Sid's outraged, and then they have like the Saturday night's main event thing where Justice abandons him and turns heel, and that obviously leads to the title match being changed and scrapped. But it's just like his, you know,
So
his
the
next
so
couple.
the um so the legend is that the plan was to have Ric Flair face Hulk Hogan at
Yeah,
WrestleMania,
yeah,
and it was done. And I have seen one of them, and it's a god awful match, but in
yeah,
Madison Square
yeah.
Garden, a house show. That
It's on
I,
YouTube.
I think the feeling was that the matches were just really terrible in the ring, and
Yeah.
it was so bad that Vince didn't want it to be the main event at WrestleMania. So that's actually saying something. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
the one and only example that I have seen is probably still on YouTube, but it's just really frustrating because it's just basically Ric Flair backing off of Hulk Hogan and not engaging in the match for about, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes, getting in and out of the ring, circling the ring, and it just god awful. And
Right.
when they are in the ring, it just doesn't click at all. It's just terrible. It is
Yeah.
terrible. And that's only
Okay.
one example.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, I must admit, what we got was Ric Flair, Randy Savage, which they worked hard on the story, and it became a great match.
It
Um,
did.
I must admit, I probably still would have gone with Hulk and Ric Flair. But then
Yeah.
again, if Hulk was leaving, you wouldn't put the belt on Hulk. So
No.
I
No.
think the fact that Hulk was going to leave probably changed everything, actually.
Yeah. I think so. They have that great sit down interview of Hulk and Vince, and it's just a very weird conversation that they had. But
Yeah, I mean, Hulk wants to
yeah,
go off and make movies now. I think he's probably
yes,
doing Mr. Nanny around this time and Thunder in Paradise, I think. Maybe a year later, that was roughly
yeah,
that time.
yeah,
Um, but it just makes you think, in Hulk's mind, he's off doing these movies, and then he's probably thinking, oh, if I want to come back, I can just come back and click my fingers and everything will just go back to how it always was before. And it just didn't work out that way.
no, no. It was very weird. I mean, like you say, the end of '91 was weird for him, and then '92 didn't get really any better for him. And it's almost like
I think it was
I
terrible
don't.
for him. I think it was
Yeah,
really terrible for him. It was a terrible night here at the Royal Rumble, and I think his reputation's damaged
yeah,
slightly, ever so slightly. Mm. And you just think he's not going to be progressing. He's not going to go anywhere after this. It's just, yeah, it becomes a retirement match.
yeah,
I still think he could have had a lot more output in those, the sort of 92, 93, 94, 95 years. Um, I think he was just overexposed and
yeah,
just the same old act. And I don't think he had any freshness to it. And it wasn't until he turned heel in '96 and became NWO and all that
yeah,
that just completely relaunched him.
yes, yeah,
Um, yeah, I think he was just coming to the end of a great run. at this time,
yeah,
and you could just see it really slowly. It wasn't obvious. It wasn't like a big squash match, like
no,
like that did happen in 1993 with the OK. That didn't
yes,
happen here at all. It was just like a slow death almost.
yeah, yeah. It's almost
Very, very gradual.
audience, yeah. Which was a shame. I mean, it happened in WCW. They had hype about Hogan coming in, and for a good 6 to 8 months they were happy, and then in '95 fans just got bored of Hogan until he
It's not
turned
just
heel.
that though. They didn't have a lot going on though. It was just a smaller stage. WCW. They didn't have the clout, all the opponents to really give him the storylines. And I think as well, having got squashed by Yokozuna in '93, that whole thing just went unanswered, and it's hard to just
Yeah,
pretend that didn't happen. In
yeah,
1990, he kind of had to deal with that and face it and overcome it, and then
yeah.
progress from there. But that doesn't happen here. They just forget about it. He starts all
Moves on
over
from it.
again in WCW. It just doesn't feel like it
Yeah.
quite worked.
No, no, it was a strange. I mean, this is. I mean, when I started watching in '92, I'd missed all the Hulkamania era. I'd missed. I mean, I know he was still around, and I know he was still, but I wasn't excited to see Hulk come in the ring. I wasn't excited to see. I was excited that threw him out, and then they had like the spin thing at the end of it. But it was like I'd missed like the whole Hulkamania,
Well, so had I
Hulkamania. Yeah,
as
yeah,
well. Although I knew who he was,
yeah.
and
And as
that's
much as
someone
I
that
love Suburban
didn't watch
Commando,
wrestling at all, and I knew who he
yeah,
was. So when I did finally see him, just completely by chance, watch WrestleMania 9 live,
yeah,
on midnight with my brother. He's like, "Oh, come stay downstairs in the living room. I'm going to watch WrestleMania. Do you want to watch it with me? Yeah, go on." Then he talks me
yeah,
into it, and he's explaining the whole show. And I was really excited about Hulk. I thought, I can't wait to see Hulk because I've heard so much about him, and I would have been a Hulkamaniac, no question,
yeah.
no question.
Well, that's fair enough.
It just
Completely
passed us
get that.
by, a little bit, a little bit. I mean, we still got the best out of him in terms of when he was Hollywood Hogan. He did all that. Yeah, we got that part of it, but we never got the golden era Hulk
No,
Hogan to enjoy
no,
because it had slightly passed us by. Really, I think at that time,
yeah,
you
yeah.
and me,
It
anyway.
had, it had, yeah, yeah. We had gone past that, and it was coming out into like, yeah, the steroid things have changed everything, and they're looking for smaller wrestlers, technical wrestlers, and Hulk's time.
I'm not sure how aware people were in the UK about all of that going on. It wouldn't have been in our media as
No,
much. I'm sure it was, but not anything like as much as it was in the States. I
no,
do
no,
feel that was probably the case. So
yeah.
I can't remember. I didn't know anything about the steroid scandal until probably, God, certainly this century. I don't remember ever anything being talked about it in the 90s during my time.
I remember being in the magazines that you get over in the news agents in EC that sold like not just the WWF magazine, but they sold like Pro Wrestling Illustrated and the Wrestler and
Yeah,
those
but that's
types of
my point. How
magazines.
many
Yeah,
people were really reading that? It
not
wasn't.
many, not
It,
many
it
at all,
wasn't
unless you
like
were a
you were
diehard
reading it
fan.
in the News of the World or the
Or
Telegraph, or
you
you
weren't
know.
on the internet seeing all this.
Well, we didn't have the
So
internet for a lot of that
no,
time.
exactly, exactly. So there was no internet to be caught up to date on that sort of stuff. So there was no real. In the US, it was more prevalent. In the UK, it wasn't. So, but yeah, no, I completely get your point. But I mean, for me, it's still a great rumble. Like you said,
Yeah, it is.
you,
It is a great rumble because even though Ric Flair wins it, and yeah, he's a heel,
yeah,
I can appreciate the quality. I just think a lot of big names really performed in that Royal Rumble, and all the
yes,
spots were really well timed, well done, and um,
yeah.
I think it really delivered as
The
a kind
story
of
was great.
attraction. It
Yeah,
worked a lot. But did you notice as
yes.
well the weird kind of chopstick sounds, the clicking sounds, all the time in this pay-per-view.
Put chopsticks down. I don't, to be honest. Might have,
Like
I
a
may have
click,
done.
like a loud clicking sound.
Oh, right.
That's quite. If yeah, well, it's there. It's actually very obvious, but um, if
It
you
might have
read
just
up
been
on
part
it,
of the.
you will find some references to it.
Oh, okay. I'll check that out.
You must have
Because
completely missed that. I can't for the life of me know how you could have missed it. But
I'll have to rewatch it again and see. Did it happen throughout the whole pay per view then, or did it through the Rumble?
yeah, whole pay per
Oh,
view on
okay.
and off.
A
Someone was doing it. It was almost like
fan
slamming
in the crowd.
chopsticks against a glass jar or something. I don't know
Oh,
how to
right.
describe it.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll have to listen to that one next time I watch it again. So, but no, this was this is a great Rumble. The undercard not great, but it's not terrible. The
Well,
Bounty
I think the Piper
that
Mountie
was the
match is
best
the
part.
only one that I would really recommend. I think the rest of them were
Yeah.
fairly
Point.
mediocre, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But
all made up for with the Rumble and the IC match. I think that they were both top notch.
yeah, yeah, they were the best parts of the match of the pay per view. So, yeah, 1992 Rumble. If you've never seen it, at least watch the Rumble match and the Mountie match. Don't worry about too much about the other matches. But yeah, anything else you want to talk about for the Royal Rumble 92?
No, I don't think so.
Excellent. Well, in the next episode, I think we're going to be talking about In Your House 6 from 1996. I've started watching it and I actually quite remember quite a bit of it. It's like, oh, this is actually quite good pay per view. But Duke the Dumpster Droese and Triple H, what a match that was. So,
On the free
yeah,
for all.
looking forward to talking about In Your House 6 on our next episode. So, yeah, until next time, guys, we'll catch you later.